Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today I have with me, listen, got a little bit of everything, and it's a team behind a new movie that's in production right now. It's called DYNGUS Day. By the way, they'll tell you exactly what DYNGUS Day is. But first, I'm going to shoot over. I have the cinematographer, Golden Groves. Golden, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. And I'm going to shoot over to Paul McGinnis. He is the writer.
Hello, everybody. I didn't know Golden was going to be here, so it might be awkward.
Okay. And then we also have the star, and I believe Golden said a hot piece of ass in the movie. Dominic.
It was implied.
Yes. Dominic, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. All right, so let's start off. Everybody's wondering, what is DYNGUS Day?
So, DYNGUS Day is a holiday that's huge in Buffalo. The only places I've ever heard of it being celebrated are Buffalo, Columbus, Ohio, I believe, and Poland, because it's originally in Poland. It's a Polish fertility holiday, and it takes place the day after Easter Sunday. And that we had decided it long ago, many of us on our own, that every holiday should have a horror movie, and so we wanted to make a holiday horror movie, and what better one than the one that we didn't have to worry about anyone else trying to make before us.
Right.
That DYNGUS Day.
No one's ever heard of.
No one's heard.
We're going to have full access to, because the question you just asked will be the question most people ask. What is this?
We actually have characters in the movie ask the same thing.
Yes, they do. We have to repeatedly say, no, this is real. This is really a thing.
It's really a thing.
Because I don't know, I've heard the term, and maybe I'm confusing with something else, but I thought dingus was something else.
Like dingus, I've heard to me like calling like an insult. Like calling someone a dingus would be a bad thing. It also sounds very penis-like, and
it does. Yes.
I don't shy away from that in the script. Like
Paul loves penis jokes.
I love mine. I wish other people trying to get that more exposure, but laws. So yeah, the term and that's another built-in thing. And it is the actual name of the full name of it originally is Schmigus Dingus, which sounds even worse. So
sounds like a dirty one.
It really does.
It sounds like a dirty one. Does.
Like, I got some schmigus on my dingus. That sounds. So I think, and Golden has earlier said we are on the same page a lot. And before I even knew those guys, I had a list of things I wanted to do. And one of them was DYNGUS Day horror movie. That's all I had. And then I started working with Mike and his partner, Golden, his partner, Mike. And they were like, we want to do a DYNGUS Day horror movie. And I was like, oh, yeah, so do I. And then they told me the idea they had. I'm like, oh, you got more than me. You have it. And then they were like, yeah, but you could write it. So that was what 4 or 5 years ago?
It was 7.
Really?
Yeah, Facebook is wonderful for that. About a few days back, the 7-year Facebook memory was like, we had a meeting about DYNGUS Day. This is going to be so amazing. And it still will be. It just was on. We didn't tackle it until we had more skills, more money, more of everything. And I'm glad that we didn't, because
we didn't know Dom then, so it wouldn't have been.
We didn't.
Oh, that's a good point. I thought it was just maybe the gestation period, because there's a YouTube like teaser trailer from like 6 or 7 years ago
with the axe into the butter lamb.
Yeah, that was fun because I had to try to hollow out a butter lamb to fill it with fake blood. And I was losing my mind trying to do it because I was heating up a drill bit with a lighter and then just kind of... there's better ways to do it, I'm sure, but we were very low budget. Now we're high low budget.
We are upper lower class right now.
Upper lower class. We can see the middle class, but we're not allowed to talk to them yet.
Right, but we know what they're doing.
You're getting there.
Slowly but surely. And I mean, the important thing is with this, the people we surround ourselves with help us grow. Paul is amazing. He knows so many people in the Buffalo film community, which was surprisingly a way bigger community than I would have ever guessed. So Paul helps us like kind of guide us through that and being like, don't be like this, try to be like this, hey, let me introduce you to these people. And he's like open to things for that. Dom is probably one of the most amazing actors I've ever met. And he's a triple threat because he's an actor, he's a director, he's a writer. And he's like, so on set, he'll be like, hey, you should try this, do things like that. And it helps us grow. Like none of us have such a big ego that we think we know the answer to everything, even though Paul will yell at me that he has the answer to everything if I ever try to correct him. But that's just part of our relationship. But I think because of that, we have a solid team that all helps each other, and it's amazing just how it felt that first day of filming when we kind of gelled together. We hit like all sorts of speed bumps that we couldn't control, and then all of a sudden we just hit a pace, and it was outstanding, and it was so good. I mean, once the weather cooperated, because
it never really cooperated, but we still got around it.
We found out that when our director would yell action, that not only were the actors and the extras listening, but so were the birds, the weather, and everybody. The large pickup trucks that were super loud. All took to that. When they heard action, they would go. So then there was sirens too. The fire.
We had an air siren go off at one point.
So that was always good for audio.
And then Dom's wife punched me in the face. We should point that out too.
I thought you were going to say that Dom's wife spilled coffee on him.
Dom's wife dumped coffee on Dom, punched me in the face. Talk about divas.
Dom, what's going on with your wife, man?
She's got anger issues. No, both were accident, and both were. I'm joking. There was a stunt that she was supposed to clobber me with a sign, but it actually looked so good I could never be mad. It was
now, Paul. Keep in mind, her back was to Paul the entire time. Just to paint the full picture, Paul's coming up from behind her, so she can't see him. She's holding a very large sign that Golden made that spans I think it's like if you turned it upright, would be as tall as her.
Right.
It was 46 inches.
Now, the director, Michael Bettino, is the only one giving her the cue to spin around. And prior to her spinning around, had her raise the sign up. So the fists would be parallel.
Mike made this happen.
Mike made it happen. I'm also going to take partial credit for it because the sign kept buckling. So I told her, like, why don't you hold it like this, Sarah, so it won't buckle as much. So
that was you. I thought that was Michael.
Her grasp was longer than it was supposed to be. So that one's on me. So
that's definitely on you, Paul.
Yeah,
that's definitely on you. That's one.
But she got me good, and it didn't hurt at all. But I've seen the stunt. I saw the footage. I'm like, it looks so good. Because otherwise, you'd have to be convinced that I got clobbered by a cardboard sign and fell over as a result. Really, if you think she just punches me, it sells better. So I'm okay.
Sells a lot better.
I think it was worth it too.
For my craft, it's okay. It's all right. And she was so like, oh my God, Paul, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't be. Oh my God, that was
as a true professional. Until cut was yelled, she didn't care. If Paul
she did not flinch. She did not stop. She did not care. She didn't. She ignored my tears. And
we all did.
When I said, when I was muffled through my bloody face of ambulance, she's like, until they call cut, you're on your none of that. But she did stay in character the whole time. It wasn't until they yelled cut that she turned and going, oh my God.
True professional. A true professional.
She really is. Like Dom and Sarah are. I would be more than happy to say, and I've said this like a million times to people that don't even know movies or don't even know who I am, and I'm like, Dom and Sarah are the Buffalo film power couple. And they're like, who are you and why are you in my house? I'm like, just you keep listening. Because I'm just door to door, like reading the gospel of Sarah and Dom. It's just what I do.
We wear white shirts and black ties and say, have you heard the Book of Longo?
See, and one thing I always love
Right
to
in the
tell
door.
people about, and I think it's such a funny thing, is because Dom and Sarah were both in the Buffalo film community long before I entered it. Paul was as well. When I first entered it, when I met these guys, it had nothing to do with Buffalo film. So Dom, I worked at a bank with someone that Dom grew up with. And he's like, "Oh, you're getting ready to make movies." My friend Dom has this beautiful place that there's this floor there that you could film in if you need something creepy. And I'm like, okay. And I got to meet Dom, and then Dom and Sarah invited me onto their podcast that they had then. And then we were casting for a movie. I'm like, for the intro of your podcast, didn't you guys say that you've acted before? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, how would you like to be the stars in our next movie? And they're like, do you want us to audition? And I'm like, we don't have time for that. So we just brought him on. And Paul worked with Mike's sister at a job. Yeah. And Mike's sister kept trying to set up play dates with us.
Yeah, I keep joking about that because she came up to me. She was actually one of the few people I got along with at the office. And one day she came up to me, and I've made a movie called Killer Rack. It's called, and I really didn't.
Escape room.
I'm gonna hurt you. The adults are talking, Golden. It's gonna get awkward. So this girl comes up to me, and she goes, "My brother's seen your movie," and I'm like, "No, he hasn't." She's like, "No, he's seen it." And I was like, "Okay." And I have so many people like, I make movies, and I always try to be opening, but at the same time, sometimes it's exhausting, especially when I'm not in my movie. I was like, "Okay." And she goes, "Well, they've got something showing it. Do you ever hear of Buffalo Dreams? Buffalo Dreams is a film festival run by the guy who directed my movie. He's a huge powerhouse in Buffalo. His name is Greg Lamberson."
I was going to say, just say his name, jeez.
I just did. Again. Did I interrupt you? She goes, "Their movie's going to be playing at Buffalo Dreams." I said, "Well, okay, I'll go support it because I like supporting the indie person, the indie people." And then my gallbladder died on me, and I had to get surgery 2 days before, but I still showed up to your stinking premiere, dude.
It was our short, and it was beautiful, and it was lovely. You laughed. And you can always tell when Paul
I have a very loud, obnoxious laugh.
He has a guffaw that travels through walls and time.
I'm a stage actor, and anybody who I've ever acted with begs me to come to their shows just because, like, okay, we're going to hear somebody. All right. And I can't hide it. Like,
at this point, we still hadn't met Paul yet. Like, at this point, we hadn't met Paul yet, and he shows up to the
premiere. I still didn't meet you because I was so sick. I was still in so much pain. But she was all like, you're going to be best friends with my brother and his friend. Like, fine, whatever. And we Facebook friended, whatever. And then I met you guys later at a fundraiser, and we talked for a little bit, and still weren't really friends. Just like, okay, these I like their short. They seem cool, and they were shouting out for extras like, we need fun superhero or villains. And I had a very inappropriate one, and I thought, well, this is going to be like not family friendly, so they're not going to want it, but I'm still going to throw it out there. I said, hey, this might not be you might not like it, but I what if I play an evil fisherman called the Masturbator? And they were like, this is kind of perfect. This is exactly who we are. And so I showed up as the Masturbator, and our friendship grew out of that.
Well, he showed up as the Masturbator, and then we're like, hey, we need someone to play a mad scientist for another short. So he played that, and then we're like, hey, we need someone to run the camera for this third short we're doing today as well. Yep. So then he ran the camera for that. And then we're like, hey, you did a really good job. How would you like to be the star of the wraparound for this anthology? And he's like, yeah, let's do this.
And that's how the team was built.
Oh yeah,
that's how it was built. That's how
Mike and I met. Mike and I met because we used to work together at a video game retailer, and instead of working, we would just talk about movies and how we wanted to make movies, and decided finally to do it. And
okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we started off because we used to do a YouTube channel show where we would review low budget movies.
That's fun.
And we always did it like with like seeing the love people are putting into them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're not going in there ripping into them because you can see this or see that. You know, you get a feel for these movies and you feel like the love they put into it. You can tell they did it. And to me, that's huge. Like, when you see the people trying. And one of our reviews we did, the director just messaged us and he's like, "Thank you." And I was like, "Oh my God, dude, this director of this movie that we watched just reached out to thank us because we were, not jerks." And so then we started reaching out to more directors, and we reached out to another director and asked if we could interview him, and he said yes. And he said something which was huge. It like hit a chord, and he is like, because we're like, what advice would you give to someone trying to start out? And he said, if you have $20, make a movie with $20, because no studio is going to send the limo out to give you $1 million to make a movie. Anyone can make a movie with $1 million. Don't wait for that. Make it with what you got. And luckily, at that point, we had $20. So,
you still owe me that money back, Golden.
Yeah, I
you never paid me that $20 back.
See, I have a similar story. Where actually my channel, like, I was doing movie reviews for low budget movies, but I was given, I was doing like a ranking, and I did not give one a positive ranking, and the director actually commented on the video, was like, "Wow, okay, I would like to come on your show for an interview." And I'm like, okay. And then it went so well, and that became my thing, like interviewing indie horror creators.
Which is awesome. I love seeing like this, conduit for people to talk, because it's so funny, like how polarizing I think it is, where like, the people that actually love low budget, because they're the ones that are saying, "Oh, this is good and this is why," but they're bringing up obviously criticisms because there's nothing I'm making on our budget that's going to come out and win an Oscar. I know that. But they're also then you got the other people that are like, "Well, this is just garbage. It's a waste of time." It's like, okay, but why? Like, what didn't you like about it? Criticism is important, because I want that criticism. I want to know what we did wrong so that we can fix it. With our first feature, with our first anthology that we made, we got lucky and we got a distributor that was putting it out there. And so then we got an article written on it in an online magazine, horror magazine. And I reached out to the author of that and to thank her. And she was surprised that I was thanking her, because like the article, the review on it started off with, "This movie starts like a low budget porn." But she meant it like, because our sound, we were so bad with sound. We still are getting better with sound, but then was horrible. And she says, "But don't let that stop you." And then she talked about what we did that was good. And, she was like, they made this on a meager budget of $20,000. And I was like, well, we had $1,000. And I was like, with $20,000, I could we still haven't gotten to make a movie with $20,000. Like, I'm hoping someday that's going to happen. But we're lucky enough that we're in a community with so many amazing people that support us, that we can make these where the budget's going to go to food and new props and new equipment, because these amazing people are willing to donate their time, because they see in us what we may not see in ourselves, and they see what we're coming to with this different voice, because we're not like a lot like, and I love so many of the production companies and the directors in Buffalo. Like, I've learned so much from them. I've gotten to meet them and talk to them, and I love them, but we're very different, and not always in a good way. We're working on the ways that we're different in a bad way. One of them is that we're slowing down. We're not, we're not Ed Wooding stuff and going, "You know what? That was good. I'm sure it'll come out in post." And we're doing extra takes. We're doing extra shots. And it's something that's funny, because Paul, when I was filming the first day, my first day as a cinematographer, and everybody's like, "Oh, no, that seemed good." And I was like, "Well, let's just do one more." And Paul was like, "My baby's all grown up." And he was all proud, because he's always like, "Wait, you guys are done filming? Like, but we didn't get that one shot." And I'm like, "Man, we don't have time."
Why do we need that? It's only, plot essential.
So yeah, Paul's been working very hard to guide us in the better directions. And I got to work with Dom with like, whereas, he wasn't just the actor, and I got to see things that he's done, and I learned from that. And I mean, I'll steal from anybody. I don't care. If I saw something you did and it's good, I'm gonna steal it. I might change it so the teacher doesn't know that I copied you, or I might not. I might just be like, let's see what we got going here.
We call this the Groves method.
Yeah. I mean,
it's taking the lens cap off. That's the Groves method. Okay.
Groves method. Lens cap. I learned the lens cap doesn't come off. It's a shutter system on this camera.
You passed the first.
It took me 5 minutes to figure out how to take off the lens cap. Sunday.
Now,
doing good.
Now, as the audience, what are we going to expect to see when it comes to Dingus Day? Are we going to see some over-top gore? Are we going to see some titties? Are we going to see some dick skin cut off? What are we going to see?
I don't know if we're going to see any dicks getting cut off.
That's not in the current plot. We're constantly making little changes, so who knows? It might be like
it's a growing.
You know what? That might be the problem. Not enough dick skin.
But yeah, it's. So we're gonna definitely have some blood gags. We're gonna have some fun kills, because if you don't have a lot of money, you better make it fun, right?
Yeah.
We're classifying it as a holiday horror comedy, and that's our wheelhouse. We're really good with horror comedy. So there's definitely going to be blood. There's going to be some fun blood gags. We're working on getting the titties in there. That's for sure. That's Paul fights me on that, because every time I come up with this great idea, Paul's like, what would be funnier if I do this and crush your dreams? And then he does that.
There's this part in the screen. All I wrote was, first of all, he was begging me to put a wet T-shirt contest in. And I won't give a spoiler, but I did it in a way that was I'm like, take that, Golden, and
crush dreams.
And then I wrote one that all it says is, there's stuff going on in the background that Golden will like. You're welcome. That's all. I think I wrote that right into the script like that, and it's like, I'll let him have it, So, and I thought our producer was going to be against it. And she goes, no, I'll make sure. We'll make it happen. I'm like, okay, that's perfect.
It is, and we definitely have some. We have one person in the cold open she won't be completely topless, but she'll be partially topless, and we usually try to do some fun things for everybody, and I think that we're going to do a little bit of. We've got some nods too, of all things, Hallmark holiday movies.
Yeah,
because the premise of it is this guy, which played by Dom, is from a small town. He comes back to the small town because he moved away to the big city of Buffalo to become a writer, and he comes back to his small town where he's spending time now with the girl that he loved in high school and had a crush on, who doesn't remember him being in high school with her. So you got like that thing going on, the guy from the big city and the small town girl. And we're going to do some nods to that just because it's fun.
Yeah, too.
And it was like, if we're doing a holiday movie, let's go ahead.
Yeah,
and
let's do those little Hallmark nods to it. I always like taking convention and kind of twisting it out of the ear. So I really feel that this is kind of a romantic comedy. I think Killer Rock was a romantic comedy. And this is, I've written for Dom and Sarah before, and I keep making this joke. This is really the first time I've written them as a potential couple, because other times I've written them as mother and son. I've written them as brother and sister. I'm sending them to couples therapy.
I wrote them as kidnapper and kidnappee. So
now, Dom, when you saw the script for the first time, what was your first impression?
Whenever Sarah and I get a script from these guys, what we do is we clear our schedule, we sit down with our hot drinks, and just spit them all over the living room, because it's, oh my god, because we have to read it all in one sitting, just to get a full idea of the flow and everything. And these guys just really cram it full with jokes and tropes and hilarious bits. So yeah, that's kind of our process. And then, we, leave it for 3 to 5 business days and then clean up.
And then it's funny too, because even after reading the script, it's always evolving. Just like the first day of filming, so my one character in it, which is a reoccurring character we have in our movies, is named Dirty Man. Dirty Man's a homeless guy that speaks basically in innuendo, and he's weird and he's disgusting in all levels of being disgusting. So like originally though, the way the whole meeting was supposed to go, then I was just like, Dom, I watched this that I'm going to show you on Paul because I want to see if you're comfortable with this. Didn't ask Paul if he was comfortable with it, by the way, with the demonstration. And I wasn't
comfortable with it.
I got right in his face. Like I was like right next to his face, just talking. And like, then I give him a kiss on the cheek and run away. And again, because I was so concerned to make sure Don would be okay with it. I didn't ask Paul though. I'm like, Paul, if you want this writing credit, you're going to sit here and you're going to let me kiss on you. And he had to, and it was great. So, but like, yeah, we do so much evolving with it, and Dom and Sarah are so good at just like rolling with it and being like, oh yeah, that's great. And, and I'm reminded of when we were filming the original short for Dingus Day that was in our last anthology, Skeleton Xylophone. We all showed up and we did the first table read while we were waiting for the sun to go down. Like that's when we did our first table read for it. And we're going around and we're doing it. And Dom was like, I don't remember what I had in my head for his character, but he just starts doing this character that he came up with. And I'm like, okay, that's better than what I had. So yes, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
It worked out so well. Like it's such a fun character. So, and
now,
a completely different character than this movie.
Now, Paul, as the writer, are you pretty vocal on having your script go a certain way? Like when
I've been a joke writer and comedian for a long time, so I'm always big on the rules of comedy and things. I don't mind if people enhance it. Like one of the great things about I was so happy to be able to write for Dom and Sarah. I've written for them in the past, and they'll take something that I think is kind of funny and they will bring it up here. We did a fundraising commercial, and I just wrote these dumb lines that gave me the giggles. It was a cereal commercial and a mother and son, and he doesn't want his regular cereal, so let's try Dingus Day cereal. And that was the whole point. And the very first thing I did, and in my head, I didn't even have it a certain way. I just like, okay, I'm going to write it like, again, a mother and a son. And I wrote like, Bartholomew is the name of the character, and the first thing she says is, oh, B-Dog, how you prattle on. Just a mother calling her son B-Dog gave me the giggles. So here comes Sarah and says, Paul, I kind of saw this as a June Cleaver 50s mom kind of thing, and she delivers it. Oh, B-Dog, how you I couldn't breathe. I was just like, oh my God. So they just enhanced this material that would be, you can write something funny, but if you don't have somebody to make it funny, all it is words on a page. You need the right performers. You need the right. You got to have all the elements, and so yeah, I'm pretty big on jokes. And sometimes I will be like, well, and we're Golden and I will be having discussions, and he goes, well, how about this? I go, yeah, but that doesn't fit the joke. That doesn't. We were talking about Golden was problem solving in case we got a bigger rainstorm than we did, and he had some good ideas. He goes, well, what if we do? And I don't even remember what it was, but I was like,
welcome party.
What?
A welcome party.
Yeah.
Gazebo.
You wanted a welcome party in the gazebo. That way we could film in a gazebo. And I was like, I understand where you're going for, but it doesn't make sense for them to have a welcome party. Have a welcome party just to go to another party. And I was just like, so, and always very reasonable. It's like, okay, we'll do this. And so other times Golden said, yeah, but I want to do this. Like, for example, the scene we just filmed, it was supposed to be in a car. They were supposed to be in a car, and he goes, well, why don't we do it this instead? It fit perfectly. I said, well, it doesn't hurt a joke. It it's going to make it flow easier. It's going to make absolutely. So I'm not so tied to material that you have to follow this like the Bible, but I am saying, certain things I like, well, this is the joke. You have to stay with this if you want this joke. So I am I do get a little picky when it comes to that because I want jokes to sell. And if you can make a joke better, I have no problem with that. And if you try this, let's say, and this is like, oh yeah, I'm not on my own ego enough to say, well, no, I'm sorry. What I write is pure, just gold from heaven. That you can't like. Anytime somebody says, "Can I try this?" If they're not extras, golden,
or golden.
No, I take your suggestions, and occasionally I will use one. I just make them better. So,
now, was there any point
we have? It's like, well, yes, that's a good idea, but like Golden came to me with a really funny, and I will give you credit, really funny idea towards the end of it, towards when I don't know, we've even told you about this, and we won't tell you now, but where you're fighting, when you and the Dingus are fighting, and Golden said, "Hey, what about if we do this?" And it was a really funny idea. And I said, "Oh, but what if?" And I just threw one liner in it. And apparently Golden approved of it. And he thought it was, and we've been.
I was mad that I didn't think of it.
Because you're not me. And you never will be. Know your place. Which is in my channel.
So one thing, whether it could have been financially or just too fucking crazy that you wanted in the movie, but for whatever reason, you couldn't fit it into the movie.
We've talked about a lot of things that we would want in there if we had the budget. I don't know right now because I write for the fact that we don't have a budget. So if it's something like that we couldn't do that. So I found you can get away with a lot on no budget. If you're genuine. There's some fun kills that I would like, and I'm hoping we can accomplish. I've seen Golden do some really fun things with just. We did a short where he cut his own hand off and sprayed the blood in his face. I thought that looked great. So
you sprayed the blood in my face.
Was it me?
Yeah, it was you. You were excited to do it. You were like, "I get to spray your face," and then you doused me, and then I had to take a horse bath in Dom and Sarah's front yard with the police driving by, covered in fake blood.
I remember the horse bath. I don't remember that was me squirting you. Okay.
Oh, it was. You were excited to do it. You were Sam Raimiing all over me.
I get so few pleasures in life, so I guess
I would say for me the thing that we weren't able to pull off because of budget was I had an in with a celebrity. Not huge celebrity, but big enough from a sci-fi TV show. And so I actually was able to, she wanted me to contact her because she was interested in being in the movie. But when the finances came to it, we got to the minimum that she would have needed, but it still wasn't quite enough to get her to come to be part of it. It turned into being a way better thing though, just because it freed up a huge amount of the budget that we've been able to use to buy equipment that we really need to bring this to the next level. Like we are getting extra recorders. So at this point, like I said, our biggest issue has been audio. We now have the camera recording audio through one thing. We have the boom mic pulling in audio to another recorder. And then we have a third track with a different recorder for we have mics for the dialogue because our biggest issue has always been audio and time, like taking our time. So we're covering those this time, and hopefully, but yeah, I would say that was my biggest thing with budget. And I got to say this about our team because Mike and Paul and Kristen, who at the time was just going to be AD, were very supportive of my insane thing that I wanted that was going to crush our budget. They were all very supportive of it. And when I delivered the bad news, they were all like, "Oh, I'm really sorry." But by the time that I got the bad news, I had already accepted that she probably wasn't going to do it, and was kind of hoping she would say no, because if she said yes, I wasn't going to back out of it, because I had yelled so much about how we needed more money to get this.
Upon plans, yes.
And so, but by the time she told me, I was happy that it happened that way, because of how much that would let us be better. But everybody was very supportive, even though I'm pretty sure all of them were like, yes.
I'm going to actually back up that one too, Golden. Now that you say that, I didn't even think about that. That is something that, and I'm not going to shoot. We've got so much talent on this film, acting wise. Like, I'm amazed at the people we have in there. And I was a little let down too, but there's other, I would have loved to have a name in it. Like in Killer Rack, we had Debbie Rochon. I was like, ooh, we could probably get Debbie Rochon. I have an in with Linnea Quigley. I was like, holiday movie. We could call back Black Christmas. So I had these ideas too. And then Golden latched on to his name, which was pretty awesome. And I was like, oh, okay, that'll be a good one too. But in my head, I was like, oh, what if we could get like a name? I like the fact, though, that we are taking the money that we did raise and put it into production, because I think that's going to make future things. That's going to make, we're going to be able to lure those names in maybe in a future production. And if we had the cash, I would have liked that as well. So yeah, I second that one.
All right. Guys, where can everyone find you? Paul, I'm gonna have you go first.
I'm on the socials. I'm mostly on Facebook. I do have an Insta. Paul McGinnis. There are two Paul McGinnises. There's a Muppeteer.
That's not you, right?
That's not me. As a matter of fact, some of the films that I'm in play on Amazon, and that's the link you'll get. So I'm in a bunch of local Buffalo productions. Some with Dom. I did one called Widow's Point, directed by Greg Lamberton, which is an amazing movie. I believe you can see it on Amazon. But the link to my name isn't me. So if you ever watch that on Amazon and saying, how did this guy make so many Muppet movies? I never did.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I love the Muppets. I'm so excited that I share a name with the Muppeteer. But Paul McGinnis on, if you look up Killer Rack, that's my big claim to fame, amongst others.
For now,
I'm on Instagram and the like. So, and then look up the Dingus Day production in general, and that's one of my big pushes right now.
Awesome. And Dom?
I highly urge, if anybody's trying to find me online, to harass Paul or Golden or Michael, just slide right into those DMs and just keep asking them over and over again, how do I get a hold of Dom? Where is he?
All the AI bots have been doing that for me today, Dom. Every time I'm getting spammed by somebody, they're like, hey, I could show you a good time to this. Like, and by the way, do you know Dom? You can't just harass me anymore, spam bots.
But if you were interested in looking at the weird tweets or images I post, just search for Dom Against Tomorrow. It's a Ellison reference if anybody reads Harlan. But yeah, you can find me. That's, I think, my handle on everything.
Awesome. And Golden.
Yeah, mine is very easy. Just Golden Groves. I'm on Facebook. I have an Insta, but I'm an old man that just set it up and then never went back to it. So anything that's on there is what other people have tagged me in, and I just get like the emails. They're like, so and so started following you, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna get bored pretty quickly. So luckily, my name is very unique, so it's easy to find me. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, and Dingus Day Feature Film is the Facebook page for the movie. Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is Golden Groves is easy to find. Dingus Day stuff is easy to find. So all those things. And then we have Michael Bettino is the director. He is on all the stuff because he also is a photographer who does amazing photography. He's got such a great eye. I'm jealous. Like anytime he gets
podcast.
Yeah, and he has a supernatural paranormal investigation podcast called Ori, ORI. And like, yeah, it's funny because I get jealous of like any of like I love everybody that's part of this family and I love their success, but at the same time, like Paul will post something on Facebook about, oh, I filmed this thing this weekend, and I'm like, you cheating whore. And I get mad at him. And like when Mike starts to get like, Mike gets all the success from his photos, and I'm like, oh, but that doesn't involve me at all. but amazing. Like he really is. He's such a talented person.
Really is.
And we get along so well, except for on set where we yell at each other for fun. To the point where it does. Like anybody that's worked with us would have sworn we were going to get into a fist fight at any point during filming, because that's just how we communicate, is by screams and punches. And so in our last anthology we decided we were going to film a bunch of commercials to go, like fake commercials to go between all the different shorts. And I took him to the side and I said, I've got an idea for this one that's a barbecue, and we show up as ourselves. And and I said, in the middle of this, we're going to get into a fight. And I said, but we're not telling anybody else that's on set. So nobody knew we were going to do this. And to the point where like I had him pick me up and slam me down on the picnic table. And then we're just like throwing stuff at each other. And I loved it because the look of horror on everyone's face was like legitimate. Like they thought that was it. We finally cracked. Because and I was like, I'm gonna put a pun out there, and then you're just gonna lose it. Because he does not like puns, and I'm like, I'm always doing puns because I'm a dad and I do dad jokes.
What made me laugh about that scene was his wife messaged me, and because I wasn't there that day, and it's like, well, I wish you had been there to stop that. I was like, you really don't know me. You think I would stop the foolishness? That I wouldn't be jumping on both of them, bringing in the people's elbow on both of them?
Guys, this has been fun. Listen, you guys are more than welcome to come in on anytime. By the way, I'm going to watch Nice Rack on YouTube. I'm not YouTube.
Killer Rack.
Killer Rack on
YouTube. Yep.
That's something else. Nice Rack. But I watched Killer Rack on Tubi tonight.
It's on YouTube too. Tubi we get the money, but also Tubi, I think they cut some scenes out. So Killer, yeah, I don't know what scenes. People have told me they cut some scenes out that. So you might want to go if you want the full experience. Here's how it would help me. Watch it for put it on the background on Tubi so we get that thing, and then watch it for yourself on YouTube so you get the full experience.
Smart. Side by side. Just
there you go. Yeah. And then when you see the scene that isn't there, point at Tubi, say Jacques Hughes. Would you cut a piece off of Rembrandt?
And while you're on Tubi, check out Skeleton Xylophone, which it looks better on Dom's because his is bigger. Skeleton Xylophone, which
I've heard Dom's is bigger.
that is our movie that's on Tubi. It's our anthology. It's the one that you saw when Christina shared that was part of this movie. It's not really a horror anthology. Like there's horror ones, there's just random weird comedies. There's the barbarian one. It's a fun one, and the name again is something that is one of a kind. So you'll easily find Skeleton Xylophone if you look up Skeleton Xylophone, and that name we actually came up with because our first movie was supposed to be called A Walk in the Woods, and while we were starting to film it, a big name movie came out called The Walk in the Woods, and I'm like. So then we changed it to The First Date, which don't look that up because that is horrible. Please don't look up The First Date. So then it's like a few more movies came out called The First Date. So I'm like, that's it. I was like, next time we do an anthology, no one's going to have this name. And we were like, Skeleton Xylophone. And originally I think we were going to go with Skellington Xylophone just to really make it weird. But then nothing came up with Skeleton Xylophone other than old 1940s cartoons where the skeleton was actually playing his rib cage, and that was it. So that's why we went with that, so that people can find it easily and not instead find better things.
On an unrelated note, I'm coming up with a new movie called Skeleton Xylophone. It's a great little Dom's starring in it.
How dare you!
Guys, listen, everybody check them out and look out for Dingus Day. Which
Dingus Day.
I didn't know what.
And Nice Rack.
Okay. Yes,
And we did hit our goal on Indiegogo, so it's a continuing campaign. So if you guys watch this stuff and you're like, man, these guys are bad, we should give them more money so they get better.
Aren't there
still
perks still
can do
on there,
that.
like buying my pants?
There's the perks
You can buy
buying
my pants
Paul's
on
pants.
Yeah.
And everything.
Well, as our hard realm always does, we will be donating to your Indiegogo. So,
I very much
we're
appreciate
sending a
it.
donation over.
There's
Guys,
some really awesome perks that you're going to find in there too. Like,
They really are.
really, we let Dom and
We
Sarah
gotta do our
take
hard
over.
five ones, dude.
We let Dom and Sarah take over one day, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Hey, do you mind if we just come up with some perks?" And I'm like,
And
"Go
they're
ahead."
brilliant. They're
And
brilliant.
they were like, and I was like, "Well, next time we do an Indiegogo, we're having them design all the perks because they were so fun." My daughter, who's 9, donated the set, and so because there was one where I have to sing any song you choose on video for karaoke, and my daughter's like Taylor Swift, and now I will now be making a video singing Taylor Swift song because my child was like, we got to donate.
Whoa. Well, that one's still in there. That might be the one I choose.
Good one.
Guys, it's been a blast. Listen, support them, getting on Indiegogo, like the hard realm is. And
You're
definitely
awesome,
support.
dude. Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
Problem, no
I loved
problem.
this. I had a great time.
Yeah, so did I.
This was a blast. By the way, when is Dingus Day again?
What?
When is Dingus Day?
When is Dingus Day?
It's
Paul
Easter
froze.
Monday. If you remember Easter Monday.
Yeah, it's the
Alright,
day
so
after Easter every
Easter
year. So
Monday.
it changes every year.
All right, so
Just like
I
Easter.
might, because I'm in Maryland, so I might have to come up to Buffalo.
Oh,
for
please
Dingus
do.
Day next year.
Yeah.
Here's what you should do. You should come up a week and a half early because currently we're planning to try to do our premiere for the Saturday before Easter.
Ooh.
And if you were coming up, I will give you a free ticket to it. And our premieres, like
They're
we might be garbage at making movies, but we can plan a party. And we have a premiere, which is a huge party. We have the after party, which is an even bigger party. And with this one, we're planning on having a polka band, who is
Nice.
You could win
presenting-
things
yes,
like this.
like that. We do crazy stuff. That was from
It's a candle
the first
holder
date.
that's a little like Western. This is their first premiere. I won this. It's got a liquor bottle that I've never taken out. There's 2 of them. And how bad did I want these? I put
You
all of my
wanted
tickets
all
into
their
this.
tickets in that.
And
All
this
right, give me a
is
ticket.
proudly on my mantle.
Yeah, if you're coming out there, we
You
will.
give me a ticket. I'll be there.
I was gonna say it's only I think it's like an 8.5 hour drive because I used to be stationed in Maryland and make that trip all.
Yeah,
the
I've been
time.
there once. Because I'm a huge sports fan. I go to see. The goal is to see every single sporting team play live, and like so I'm done the East Coast. I went to see the Buffalo Bills play, and I went to see
We're so
Niagara
sorry.
Falls, and but it was during that fucking snowstorm. So
Oh.
I was at the Bills versus Patriots game. That fucking snowstorm, and I was like, why are these people here wearing fucking shorts and flip flops?
We're crazy.
And I'm fucking layered up, freezing my fucking ass off.
That we're crazy. Snow. It's a lot of alcohol. Like if we're gonna be honest. Alcohol warms the insides.
The fact that we made a drinking holiday out of a thing called Dingus Day says everything
Yes.
you need to know about our town. You will
And that's
come on
stadium,
up. You'll be an
too?
honored guest. We will
Yes.
give you a hero's welcome, sir.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
will be there. I will be there.
We will give you some tickets to the premiere and to the after party, which is, like I said, it's an amazing thing. And it's in a town called Springville, which is like 30 minutes south of Buffalo. So we're just so even a little bit less of a drive, but you probably want to
I
go
would
to
definitely
Buffalo
do
and
that.
Niagara Falls if you made the trip all the way up. You probably don't want to just see our auto parts store.
I did at Niagara Falls, but I did all the touristy things in Buffalo, so I would definitely, I'm going to be focused on. And I want to see Dingus Day. I really do want to see Dingus Day. I did not even know this was a thing, and it sounds like a fucking
And
blast.
you're never going to unknow it. That's the thing. It's
Yes.
forever going to
Yes.
live.
This will take
rent-free in
over
your brain,
your Easter weekend for the rest of your life once
Exactly.
you're
As a matter of fact, one of the jokes in the movies is we don't call it Easter, we call it Dingus Eve. So
Well, I will be there for the Dingus Day and the Dingus Day. So I definitely want to check it out. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming to the Horror Room.
Thank you.
I'm Travis Bruce. That's Paul. That's Dominic. That's Golden. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.
Okay.